Hello, everybody's talking about Nintendo Switch 2 at the moment, but what do we know? Well, we don't really know anything. It's all rumors at the moment, but we can talk about it a little bit. NVIDIA Tegra T239 chip is the one that's everyone's talking about it being in the Switch 2. It has 12 CPU cores, but half of those are dedicated to verifying the other half. So in effect, it has 6 cores. Okay, well, we don't know what screen it has. Will it have a 1080p or 720p LED screen? Or will it have an OLED, which is sounding like it's going to be unlikely, but perhaps they may even use the screen that's in the OLED Switch model now and just repurpose it and use it in the Switch 2. I'm guessing it will have between 8 gig of RAM and 12 gigs of RAM. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if the Switch 2 has 8 gigabyte of RAM. I wouldn't be surprised. Also, with, I think, roughly graphics power, roughly around an RTX 2060 or something like around that. In handheld form, however, will it be 1080p? I'm not sure. Because if you look at something like the Steam Deck, which is recent, that's an 800p screen, which is practically 720p. I'm imagining a Switch 2 is going to be around the power of the Steam Deck, let's say. And if the Steam Deck can be sold for, say, $350, I'm thinking if it has, and that has 16 gigabyte of RAM as well, total system RAM, including graphics. So a Switch 2 having 8 gig of RAM, an LED screen, perhaps 1080p, who knows. I can't see it going over 400, the price. The price I can't see going over 400. I don't think that's not what Nintendo are like, really. They don't like to have high-priced consoles, really. They don't like to have them too high-priced. They like to try and keep things a bit cheaper, which is why they're never at the bleeding edge anymore of technology. And when I say bleeding edge, I mean, they're not trying to outdo the PS5 and the Series X in terms of raw power. And now onto the naming. Now, what does everyone think it's going to be called? I think it's going to be just simply Switch 2. Just a simple Switch 2. I think that the reason for that is that it's just easy for them to market it and it's easy for the consumer to understand. So it's Switch 2. It's like PlayStation 2. It's just easy to understand. Nintendo expressed their concerns over the marketing of the Wii U previously, confusing consumers that didn't really know what the Wii U was. They thought it was an accessory to the Wii. I think they're going to be very careful in how they market these things from now on, from then on actually. Let's say Switch 2, it has a 1080p LED screen, has 8 gigabyte of RAM. I say 128 gigabytes of storage. I think that's what they'll go for. You might get a 256 gig model, and I think it's going to be under 400. I think it's going to be $379.99. That's what I think. Now, in terms of titles that will come out for it, it's highly likely that we might see Metroid Prime 4 as a launch title for it. It may be cross-generation with the original Switch. There may be a version for the Switch 1, we'll call it. Just like, as it was with the Wii and the GameCube getting Twilight Princess, and with Zelda on the Wii U and the Wii as well. So yeah, Metroid Prime 4, a launch title. I wouldn't be surprised if you got a version of Street Fighter 6. Remember, we got Ultra Street Fighter 2 for the original Switch as a launch title. I wouldn't be surprised if we got Street Fighter 6 cross-play with PS5 and Series X and PC. Perhaps a Tekken 8, as that's coming out in a couple of weeks. We may get a version of Tekken 8. Remember, there was Tekken on the 3DS. So in terms of that, I think it's an exciting prospect, the Switch 2. I'll certainly be getting one. I don't want to jump the gun, but I know it's going to be good. I'm almost certain it's going to be backwards compatible. So it has to be compatible with all the Switch titles from before, which does beg the question, what's the format of media going to be for the Switch 2? Is it going to still remain these small, tiny cartridges? I have a feeling it's going to be the same cartridges so that it can enable backwards compatibility. I'm not sure the size of a Switch cartridge, how large they can go. Let's have a look. Of 64 gigabytes is only down to a limitation of the file type right now, really. So that can be changed and that can be updated. So you could possibly get, I would say, up to 512 gigabytes cards, with flash memory being a lot cheaper now than it was when the first Switch was released. Then that doesn't seem too far-fetched. So we've talked about the screen, we've talked about the memory. Also, there's one other point that I haven't heard anybody else speaking about, which I'd like to discuss, is what is the unique feature that the Switch 2 is going to have. Every time Nintendo releases a console, or even a handheld, there's always a unique element to that console. With the Wii, it was the Wiimotes. With the Wii U, it was the tablet. With the Switch, it was that it could be plugged in to a dock and taken portably. With the 3DS, it was the 3D screen. The DS was the dual screens. There's always something new with every console. And I'm wondering, what's the twist going to be this time for the Switch 2? Surely there's going to be a twist. I mean, it wouldn't be Nintendo otherwise, would it? Anyway, that's all for now. Please leave your comments about what you think is going to happen with the Switch 2. Let me know if you're looking forward to it. And we'll see you in the next one.